Well, staying with South Africa, its Public Enterprises Minister Sterling Brown has resigned as Member of Parliament, and this has been confirmed by the ANC. It's not been an easy ride for the former Western Cape Premier, who became a Member of Parliament in 2014, taking over from Malusi Gigaba as Minister of Public Enterprises. Brown has courted much controversy in the past, especially in the wake of the state capture allegations at Eskom and other state-owned companies. On Wednesday, a parliamentary inquiry heard that it was not possible for her not to have known about the extent of maladministration at Eskom. Last week, the public protector found that she had inadvertently lied to Parliament, providing incorrect information to the National Assembly on questions about the company's relationship with a controversial consultancy firm. And over to Zambia, a lawmaker has been sentenced to death by hanging after a court found him guilty of murder. Keith Mukata, a member of the opposition United Party for National Development, was found guilty of first-degree murder by the Lusaka High Court. Presiding Judge Susan Wandelani sentenced him to death after being accused of killing a security guard at a law firm in the capital. However, Mr. Mukata's lawyers say they will appeal the sentence. As much as Zambian laws provide for death penalties, convicts usually have their sentences commuted to life in prison instead. Let's go over to Kenya, where a Kenyan human rights group has accused police in the coastal region, including the city of Mombasa, of carrying out an increasing number of extrajudicial killings. Spokesperson for Haki Africa, Salma Hamid, said there had been 3 of such deaths so far this week, adding that the actions of the police were driving young people to become radicalized or join bad gangs. However, the Kenyan authorities have consistently rejected these accusations in the past. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have previously accused the Kenyan security forces of carrying out forced disappearances, summer killings, and torture with impunity. Well, for more on that is a guest in the studio. He's a human rights lawyer. He's been on the program before, Mr. Ejeta Otonio. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here, Melissa. Good afternoon.
What we're hearing with regards to Kenya, I mean, the human rights group accusing the country of extrajudicial killing, torture with impunity. We also understand that the authorities keep rejecting it.
Sadly, this has been a pattern in Kenya in recent years. You will recall the post-election violence in 2008, where a number of people were mowed down on the streets, and it was still the police that was accused of these extrajudicial killings. Some human rights bodies had also filed petitions against the government, the police, and the Attorney General. As we speak, nothing has come out of that petition. And so you will see a pattern in the impunity being carried out by the police. So one is not surprised that because they had called out these authorities in the past and nothing had been done, this impunity will continue. And that's what is playing out again in Kenya.
In your opinion, do you think there's a correlation between the government, essentially, with regards to the elections, what they've gone through since 2008, as you mentioned, up until now, and the security agencies?
You will notice a pattern of also instability in the Kenya's political space since 2008 till now. I mean, recently the election was disputed by Raila Odinga, and of course, the act of declaring himself president and all of that, and his supporters. So you will see a level of high-handedness being carried out by the security forces against certain sections of the populace. And if some of these young men are being mowed down on the street in the guise of the opposition to the current government, it's possible that the government also could be turning a blind eye to what the security forces are doing. But that's not very palatable, if you ask me.
As far back as 2009, there was a call for the removal of the East African Nations Police Commissioner, his Attorney General. Should that happen now?
That's exactly what I tried to trace back. You see, that it was a fallout from the electoral violence that came up after the elections of 2008. And now the call for the removal of that commissioner, even as we speak, is still being heard in the High Court of Kenya. And nothing has been done. Recently, I think the High Court of Kenya just gave them a date for the month of May to hear the complaints of extrajudicial killing that occurred some 14 years back. It tells you the foot dragging by the authorities to call out those who were responsible for those extrajudicial killings. And
some would say there's also disturbing what we've heard, especially from Amnesty International, that talks about the police and other investigating agencies accused of turning a blind eye. It says a total of 122 extrajudicial killings have taken place in Kenya alone, out of 177 in Africa.
Now, you see, that statistics may be correct, but again, we must realize that extrajudicial killings itself may not be unlawful. I say that because if you look at the constitutions of various countries, which take their roots from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, there are exceptions that allow extrajudicial killings, where the authorities or the police authorities have to bring down an insurrection, they have to bring down protestations that are not allowed, and if there is threatened violence against the state, the police are allowed to extrajudicially kill.
So finally, what solution would you say? What would you recommend? What should the government of Kenya do?
Really, you see, truth be told, the police would naturally want to take it further than what the law permits. And that's exactly what Amnesty International is calling them out for. Extrajudicial killings that are clearly unlawful, not within the exceptions provided by law. That's exactly what Amnesty International is.
And by law, that would also include the charters that they've signed to.
Yes, the Charter and then the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ejeta Toniyo, a human rights lawyer, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Still to come on Network Africa, lost and found 1974 iconic painting by a renowned Nigerian gets sold for $1.4 million in Lagos. Please stay with us.